So how do you
And
make people um, believe in your abilities? How do you bring them together? That's the biggest challenge startups face, especially entrepreneurs face, because they are more creators, right? So they don't know how to manage with people. Many startups fail because of that. Team building is harder. You did that fantastic. How did you do that?
So I think it's a combination of various elements. One part of it is you must be clear what you're trying to build. So you must have a clear vision that you can effectively communicate to the people that you're trying to bring on board, right? So when I came back in 2007, we were just an offshore delivery center for our international operations. I said after about a year of doing some reconstruction within the organization in terms of how we were set up and how we were goaling our people, um, I laid out a vision for the India business, right? And I got pretty much people to kind of sign up for that vision, right?
That's the most important.
That's the most important because people must believe in the direction that you want to run into.
Wonderful.
Right? That's one aspect of it. I think the second aspect of it, before you even do that, you must at an individual level be able to build that trust. Right? People work for people.
Lovely.
Right? People don't work for organizations.
Lovely.
And people will work for you if they believe that you're going to be transparent, you're going to be fairly true to your word, and the fact that you're willing to stand behind them when something goes wrong, right? You're not going to be the character that's going to throw them under the bus and sacrifice them. And if people start believing that you're there for them, they'll work for you in a manner which you can never attain by being just a boss.
So it's more empathy.
It's a lot of empathy, it's a lot of communication. It's also about understanding what motivates the other individual.
That is what many people lack.
Absolutely.
They don't know what they are looking for.
Absolutely.
Especially today's generation, millennials, their expectations are super high and they want to experience everything, and that's the way they should be.
Yeah, but
so how do you hold them?
Yeah, but at the end of the day, it's do you really need to hold them?
I'm asking you.
I
have not done 2,500 people. You have.
Yeah,
you
but
managed it.
I believe you should not ever try to build an organization with a view to say, I want to hold on to people.
Okay.
You should rather try to strive to build an organization and a culture where people say, I don't want to leave this organization.
Wonderful.
Right? Because I think when you try to do it vice versa of saying, I will not allow anybody to leave, I think you're in many ways doing a misdeed of sorts. You should give people the opportunity to grow, and everyone will outgrow the organization, right? Whether it's the janitor or the CEO. At some stage, that person will have reached the potential that they can reach within that framework or that environment, and you should allow them to leave to explore newer things, because it could always be that they will return having experienced another environment, another culture, to come back and further add value to your existing organization.
So the biggest challenge, one of the biggest challenge companies, startups face, even companies face, mid-sized companies, is that do we take our people up the ladder, or do we hire the professionals, and then, or the mix of it? I know it's mix of it always works better, but how do I mix it? As an entrepreneur, it's very confusing for them because they have not done it.
See, there's no right answer. You have to, I think, when you're an entrepreneur, you have to also do a lot of self-introspection. A lot of entrepreneurs fall into the trap that they say, well, I built this business, so I'm the best guy to grow this business. Not necessarily, right? I think people must always identify what their strengths are and what their weaknesses are. And if they're willing to be conscious business leaders, then they will know when the time is right to hand over that to help grow that business to the next level. I don't necessarily believe always that the entrepreneur is the best guy to run the business. Unfortunately, in India, while all the so-called breed of entrepreneurs are digital natives per se, But the harsh reality is most of them also work in many ways as proprietors, the typical Indian proprietors that set up companies, right? I think you have to be looking at the organization and you have to look at yourself as the guardian of that
Beautiful,
institution,
lovely.
right? So,
Guardian of the institution.
as the guardian of that institution, I always said, when you become a CEO, yes, you have moral, legal, and social responsibility for the interests of that organization. The CEO has to take all the tough decisions. It's a very lonely job per se, but you must also look at yourself as the guardian. It could be at times you have to take very tough decisions to safeguard the longevity of the organization. In an entrepreneur's case, it could mean that tomorrow an entrepreneur says, listen, I've managed to bring the organization from 1 to 10, but the journey from 10 to 100, am I really the best guy for undertaking that journey?
Fantastic.
And if I'm not saying you're running away, riding away into the sunset. You probably can still play a valuable role within that organization, but you may need to hand over the reins to somebody who knows how to take it from 10 to 100.
Lovely.
And that's a constant struggle.
Yeah.
It's not an easy one.
It's not easy. Because for us as an entrepreneur, the business we have created is like our baby.
Absolutely.
We can't give up.
Absolutely.
Right? So the biggest challenge, I remember we keep talking about fail fast, right? So we know how we have failed. As an entrepreneur, we think that the next guy, they don't know many things. So there is a friend of mine I met many, many years ago, and this was in the old office, and I asked him, we were just chatting about it, he came from US. So he said, Muki, what are you looking at? And we are looking at, somebody who can run the show as a COO. So what are you looking for? A guy who can be fantastic at sales, he should understand creativity, technology, then blah, 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 blah. He said, why the hell anybody would join you if they have all the skill?
Yeah.
They would have become an entrepreneur. That's the day I realized we should hire people for what they are good at.
Absolutely.
Like Steve Jobs always said, when you hire a person, make sure that they are far, far smarter than you so that you don't have to teach them, they will teach you.